connecting people and sharing ideas.
Hey, this is Arlene. You're back with Blast from the Grassroots.
Hi, this is Gowri, and today we are, of course, speaking to our partners from Ecoknights.
And hi, Yasmin.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. So, Yasmin, today we are going to speak about Mantanani, the struggle for a sustainable livelihood, together with Julian Hyde. He will be on the phone with us very soon. So we can start our conversation today. Maybe you can just let us know, like, what is this short film all about?
Well, this short film came about. It's actually produced by a coalition called Mengo, Malaysian Environmental NGOs. And Mengo has had a initiative working with the communities on this island called Mantanani in Sabah. And looking at the range of issues faced by the communities there, I think it was actually quite apt and strategic from Mengo to actually look at producing a communication material in the form of a short film to share with more people about the kind of issues that are faced by the communities there, and also to, I guess, raise the awareness of Malaysians as well. Because if you look at the kind of issues faced by the communities in Mantanani, it's almost unbelievable, especially for KLites like us who live here, and we would think it's nice and rosy outside the urban setting as well.
Actually, before that, maybe you can tell us what Mengo is.
Before you answer that, I just want to introduce another speaker. He's on the line, Julian Hyde.
Good morning.
Good morning, Julian. You are the director of this short film, Mantanani.
No. Julian is the general manager of Reef Check.
Okay, sorry.
Malaysia.
So what is your role in this particular short film?
Well, we'll be contributing towards the marine conservation issues. We have a program of surveys on the island. We're doing some reef rehabilitation, and all of these are parts of the puzzle to helping to solve some of the problems on the island.
And yeah, just now, Gowri's question about
Mengo.
Yeah, Mengo.
Mengo is a national coalition of about 24 environmental and social NGOs. And Reef Check, Ecoknights, Blue Life are some of the members part of it. And the reason why I named these three NGOs is because they have some projects working with the communities over there. Mengo has been in existence since 2001. It was actually a coalition established by the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment to kind of get all the NGOs in one platform so that we can have a bigger voice, for instance, especially when it comes to issues related to government legislations and policies.
So earlier you mentioned about you said something about the Blue Life and Reef Check.
Yeah.
Maybe you can explain a little more about that.
Blue Life, Eco Services, and Reef Check Malaysia are two of the members of Mengo, and they both are also working very actively on the island called Mantanani. Blue Life does more community engagement and also education. Reef Check expertise is basically on coral reef rehabilitation, because the range of issues faced by the communities of Mantanani ranges from land-based to marine-based and so forth. Therefore, it was quite nice to see our members coming together, working together to address these issues. And the short film on Mantanani was actually an initiative by Mengo to kind of capture the essence of the 4 key issues that has been highlighted in the short film to a wider audience, so that Malaysians are more aware of this, that this is happening in their backyard.
And Julian, maybe you can tell us why is it so important for the preservation of the reefs in Malaysia?
because we derive so much value from them. If you think about a small island like Mantanani, it's 40 kilometers off the coast, it's 3 kilometers long, there's a population of 1,000 people living there. They earn their livings from the sea. They're either fishermen or they work in the tourism industry, and most tourists that go to Mantanani want to go diving or snorkeling on the coral reefs. So if you don't look after your marine environment, you destroy the coral reefs, you are essentially destroying your livelihood.
But why there are so many? But why there are so many waste there, from what we see in the short film?
Why is there so much waste? Because there is no waste disposal system. If you look at Pulau Tioman on the east coast of Peninsula, there they have an incinerator. Unfortunately, at the moment, the incinerator is not working, and so all of the waste has to be transferred from the island to the mainland for disposal. So at least they have a system of waste management on Tioman. But on Mantanani, there is no system of waste management. So all of the trash essentially gets thrown out to sea. And when the tides change, a lot of that trash comes back into the island.
There's
a lot of plastic trash there.
What are some of the other issues that the people there are facing on that island?
As I think one of the biggest problems is that as tourism grows, and when we've seen this on many other islands, but as tourism grows, you get a sort of a natural conflict builds up between the growing tourism industry, which is quite a wealthy industry. It brings a lot of foreigners to the island who've got high disposable incomes. But none of that benefit gets transferred to the islanders themselves. They're the custodian of the island. It's their island, if you like, and their reefs. And all these tourists come in, and all of that value goes to the tourism operators. It doesn't pass on to the islanders. So you get a natural conflict starts to build up, and that needs to be, I think the best word is managed. Somebody needs to negotiate between those two groups and make sure that the tourism industry is treating the islanders properly and helping also to solve some of the problems that they bring with them. When you get a growing tourism industry, you get growing water extraction, for example. And so the islanders' natural source of water can, in some cases, get depleted. And so the islanders are left without water just for the tourism industry, just as an example.
From what we actually watched the short film for a while, and we noticed that you came in, you did some awareness program, and you focus a lot on the younger, the Mengo focuses a lot on the younger generation there. Why is that so? And what were the responses from these young people?
Well, I think the reason why we focused on the young was because they were more approachable. And during the activity which we shot in the film in April on Mantanani, the children also attracted their parents along, especially the women. And I think side by side in that activity, I would like to believe that the adults were also learning along the way, because we conducted activities about waste and more onto arts and craft and what you can do with the waste. I like to think that they are excited about it. I remember last year when we had an outdoor screening for them, of cartoons. I think we showed Wall-E, just because it's an environmental themed cartoon. Not just the kids got attracted to it, the adults as well. You could see a couple of hundred people sitting right in front watching these outdoor films. And I think it's also something they're not exposed to compared to a community in the urban setting. So for them, we try our best as NGOs to use as many kind of friendlier techniques to build trust, to build better relationships with them, because I cannot imagine working closely with them if we don't establish that kind of relationship first as well.
It's interesting that earlier Julian highlighted about the lack of waste management. What about the authorities? Did they do anything to address the issue?
Julian, you want to go?
We were with the district office in Kota Belud just last Thursday. I went to visit them together with one of the resort operators from the island who is concerned about the lack of waste treatment. And essentially the problem is this. Local government has limited funds. The island is a long way from the mainland, and it is very expensive to send boats out to collect trash to bring back to the mainland. I think we must all understand that while it's very easy to look at the situation and say, oh, that's terrible, they shouldn't let that happen. Well, the reality is that, like I said, there is limited funds, and so to look after one small community and look after all of its needs is just not practicable on the point of the local district office. So some things go missing, and that's one of the things that's been missing. And I think that's where we as NGOs can work together with the business population to try and resolve some of these issues. And I'll give you, just as another example, on Pulau Tioman, we have a long-term program started there, and we're now starting to recycle the plastics and the aluminium. And a week ago, we sent out 500 kilograms of recyclables, which we sold. And those are the sort of programs that we can put in place, working with the local population to try and reduce the scope of some of these problems. We can't completely solve the waste disposal problem, but we can at least reduce the size of the problem.
And ever since Reef Check Malaysia stepped in, what are the changes that are obvious in the island?
On Mantanani particularly, there's a problem with fish bombing, I'm afraid, like there is in a lot of Sabah. There's a problem with increasing amounts of pollution in the water from unregulated sewage discharges. And there's a problem with overfishing, as there is in not just in the whole of Malaysia, but in all of Southeast Asia. More and more people chasing less and less fish causes imbalances on the reefs, and that leads to further problems down the line.
Sabah is a very is very rich in natural resources, as you all know, and to claim that the district government do not have enough fund to help the community to settle their waste management, does it show that there's a very high economic inequality within the poorest of Sabahan and the state government and also the riches of the Sabahan people itself?
I think you could say that was true of anywhere. It's true of the UK, it's true of parts of the US, so it's not a unique Malaysian situation. Could the government be doing something about it? I would have to say yes, but I think that you have to be realistic about these things. Yes, we'd like to see better waste management on the island. Yes, we'd like to see better sewage treatment on the island. But I think you have to look for creative solutions, and I think one of the things that we don't do enough is to involve the businesses in solving these problems. I mean, part of the problems on Mantanani are caused by the resort businesses working there. So why not involve them in solving some of these problems?
All right, and we have Awang, who has just joined us for our session, and he's the coordinator of this project. Hello, Awang.
Let him catch one or two breakfast.
Take my breathing. Good morning, everyone. My name is Awang. I'm from Malaysian Environmental NGO Support Unit Office. Thank you for having us here. And it's a very a lovely day, actually, walking via LRT, bus, and taxi to your place.
So, Awang, what is your role in this project?
I started 2007. I'm the third generation of this network. It's the initiative with two government, Malaysian government and the Danish government. So in our office we are doing networking, collaboration with all the Mengo members. Now we have 24. We started 2001. During that time is 11 or 17 Mengo members. Now we are 24. Then every time there's any consultation or meeting with government, for example about water, about forest, about climate change, they will call to Mengo office, and at the same time also share the information to all the Mengo members.
So on the subject of the issue about Mantanani, I think where is your role in this for Mantanani?
It started when Shell, approached Mengo, and they want to do a project that the coalition is something about community, a bit part of community, the biodiversity, and also the technical part on the development of the the community in that island. So she came to me, then they came to Mengo, and then we tried to develop a network between Mengo members that champion in these rules, for example, like community development or the biodiversity. And we discovered that we have three Mengo members that are suitable for this project. It's a Blue Life, Ecoknights, and also the Reef Malaysia. So they started last year, 2012, yes, and they cover some of the community survey and also the biodiversity component.
Yeah. So making a short film was actually kind of a by the way thing. We felt that if we wanted this issue to reach out to a broader audience and to be aware of this, maybe film is one way. So we don't typically do this as an NGO or a coalition NGO, but we hope that at the Eco Film Festival, when people come and watch these films, that it will also encourage NGOs to think about documenting their projects and initiatives in a more storytelling kind of perspective.
Interesting. Another point that I want to raise is about the society there. Like a lot of the NGO, whenever they do a project, but when they leave, do they create any sort of mindset change among the society, and how do they ensure that the society will carry on with that sort of mindset? A more sustainable, a more greener mindset after the NGO have depart. And how do you make sure that the community is in the area that you work on, Mantanani, actually make the change themselves?
You want to go, Julian?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, and I think it's a valid one that every NGO should be asked about the work that they do. There's no simple answer, but basically I think you have to involve the population as much as possible in the work that you're doing. So we now employ 2 people on the island, one local islander, one from nearby, and they are, if you like, our voice in the village. People don't listen to me, I'm just a big scary white guy. But the local people, the local islanders will listen to one of their own community. So if we can work through the local community members like that understand what we're doing and kind of they get it, then that helps to start the mindset change. And then there are sometimes you can build institutions. So on Mantanani, we're looking to build some sort of a protected area body, and that will then be owned by or run by the local population. And so you need to get them to own the change. You need to get them to own what's happening, and it's kind of their ideas, and then in that way it becomes sustained, because in teaching them or showing them how things can change, then their mindset will change as you go along.
Yeah, I think it's also key on understanding. I mean, first it's important, like what Reef Check is doing is definitely on the right track, having people actually on the island, because I can't believe, I can't imagine doing this without actually having people from the organization actually developing relationships with the people. At the end of the day, we are talking about empowering them to make that change. And not all NGOs also probably have one fixed system or a methodology on how to engage the communities on the ground. So it's actually a field which I hope will produce more opportunities for discourses among the NGOs to look at having a more strategic approach with communities. But having said this, NGOs is just part of the puzzle. At the end of the day, governments too should look at about how to engage these communities themselves. At the end of the day, I won't say it's entirely their jurisdiction to take care of the people, but they are the ones that are able to provide services or offer help to the communities. So government offices or departments should also embrace this new way of making sure that whatever they do, they actually talk to the communities first and know what the impacts are towards them.
In conjunction with Malaysia Day, we also want to gauge with all the speakers about what is their ideal Malaysia and what kind of message you want to convey to fellow Malaysians. Maybe we can start with Awang first.
Wow. It's 34 years old, that's my age. I can see that from the beginning, since 1980s, there's my year, the year that I was born, and the first year that I reached here in KL, I totally a bit a culture shock because
Awang is from Sarawak.
All right. Okay.
So it's a bit challenging for me because in terms of how to get in social with
Right.
for example a community, a Malay community in Peninsula, because in our place, I mean in Kuching, we didn't see that kind of you are Malay, you are Chinese, you are Indian. No, we are more than three major these tribes. And then it's challenging for me the first year. Then we can see the transformation now is very clearly we are one Malaysian, one country, satu bangsa, and then it make me something a bigger scope of so-called Malaysian. So we can sit down in one table with Chinese, Malay, or also Indian. So that's my view that we can see. We want the kind of spirit of Malaysian.
And I think we'll ask Julian now for his
very
hope on the future
brief
of
answer
Malaysia.
because it's almost the end now.
Yeah.
As the non-Malaysian. I'm going to revert back to what Yasmin just said. I think it needs, for projects like ours to be successful, we have to work with government. Working with the community alone is no good because government's the one that changes the policy, the legislation, and has the financial support to do these things. So we've got to work with government as well.
All right.
And Yasmin.
My message for Malaysia Day, I just wish Malaysians would look closely to the local issues around them. I mean, we all share a lot of things on Facebook and share global stories, but I think there's a lot of issues happening in our backyard that we need ourselves to start addressing it. So I hope Malaysians would wake up to it and do whatever part they can do to contribute.
You can start with Mantanani.
Definitely.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for sharing your views.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julian.
All right.